You now know the primary motions that Earth undergoes and their effects. For Earth's motion around the Sun revolution, you will see that there are interesting effects it does to Earth coupled with Earth's tilt. Specifically, for a specific part of Earth's orbit around the Sun, there would be times when there is a longer length of day and shorter night, or when there would be equal lengths of night and day. Or generally, these points mark the changing of the seasons. Have you noticed this throughout the year? These are called solstices and equinoxes. What do solstice and equinox mean? In this video lesson, you will learn about solstices and equinoxes. At the end of this video lesson, using a model, you should be able to relate the tilt of the Earth to the length of daytime, the length of daytime to the amount of energy received, the position of the Earth in its orbit to the height of the Sun in the sky, the height of the Sun in the sky to the amount of energy received, the latitude of an area to the amount of energy the area receives, and the tilt of the Earth and the seasons. You have known about the primary motions that Earth does, rotation and revolution. Rotation is the cause of day and night, and revolution is the movement of Earth around the Sun, when its revolution is through a year is experienced. We also know that Earth's axis of rotation is tilted about 23.5 degrees. This is one of the primary causes of seasons on Earth. Knowing these facts, we would be able to understand how the season changes from one season to another. To explain the transition of seasons, we will use the model where the Sun is the center while the Earth is moving in space. For the position of the Sun from each season, we will use the celestial sphere model, where the Earth is the center while the Sun is moving across the sky. Let's begin to describe what a solstice is. A solstice is an event on which there is an even length between day and night. In this event, the daytime is quite longer than nighttime. Two types of solstice occur annually in regions located on high and lower latitudes of the Earth: the summer solstice and winter solstice. Summer solstice is experienced every June 21 or 22 of the year. This marks the beginning of winter in countries far from the equator. During this event, the North Pole is tilted towards the Sun, causing the solar energy to strike the Tropic of Cancer at 90 degrees north and travel with the longest path on Earth. With regards to the Sun's position in the sky, it is located well north of the celestial equator. Summer happens in countries far from the equator for at least 4 months, from June to September. The North Pole and countries located in the Arctic Circle will experience 24 hours of daytime. Tropic of Cancer will have 13 hours of daytime, and the equator will observe 12 hours of daytime. On the other hand, Tropic of Capricorn will experience shorter days and longer nights, 10.5 hours of daylight and 13.5 of nighttime. The South Pole and countries that were part of the Antarctic Circle will experience no daytime at all. 0 hour of nights that happens in the North Pole and Arctic Circle is commonly known as midnight sun, where the sun is visible above the horizon even at night throughout the period. While the South Pole and Antarctic Circle, with 0 hours of daylight during June solstice, experiences polar night where the sun is not present even in the daytime. Winter solstice is a type of solstice that occurs on either December 22 or 23. On this date of the year, the South Pole is tilted towards the Sun, allowing the Tropic of Capricorn at 90 degrees south to receive direct solar radiation with the shortest path. The Sun's position in the sky during this event is farthest south of the celestial equator. The December solstice marks the beginning of winter, having shorter days and longer nights in countries part of the lower latitudes. This time, the North Pole and Arctic Circle experience 24 hours of nighttime while the South Pole and Antarctic Circle experience 0 hours of daylight. The Tropic of Cancer will have 13.5 hours of darkness, while the Tropic of Capricorn will observe 10.5 hours of darkness. However, nothing changed with the length of day and night with the equator, since its exposure to sunlight is constant throughout the year. The season of winter happens in countries far from the equator for about 3 months, from December to March. During these months, the sun follows the shorter path and least insolation strikes the Earth's surface throughout the year. Equinox marks the transition of the season to either autumn or fall. This also initiates the beginning of dates where day and night are equal. One of the equinoxes that happens every March 21 and marks the beginning of spring is the vernal equinox. The sun's position in the sky during this event is at the celestial equator or appears overhead at noon. Spring is the best season for the plants to spring back to life, aided by the mild temperature and the abundance of meltwater from winter ice after several months of winter. In addition to that, during March equinox, it is springtime in some countries in the northern hemisphere such as United Kingdom, USA, Canada, Russia, India, and China, while in some countries in the southern hemisphere like Australia, Argentina, Chile, New Zealand, and South Africa experiences autumn. The second type of equinox is autumnal. It marks the beginning of fall or autumn and happens every September 22 of the year. The sun is on the celestial equator or appears overhead at noon as seen from the Earth's equator. Autumn is the time for the leaves of non-evergreen plants to turn red and orange and eventually fall as plants in preparation for the winter. In this equinox, the season experienced by the northern and southern hemisphere is opposite from the vernal equinox. Some countries in the northern hemisphere will have autumn while spring in the southern hemisphere. To summarize, it is summer in the northern part of the world while winter in south during the June solstice. In December solstice, it is winter in the southern hemisphere while summer in the northern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere experiences fall during September equinox while spring in the north. Oppositely, with March equinox, it is spring in the north while autumn in the south. Solstices and equinoxes can relate to hope. Both marks the beginning of a new season in our life each year. That ends this video lesson. I hope this simple video has helped you to understand the occurrence of solstice and equinox and their effects on the weather condition of countries in the northern and southern hemispheres. Thank you for watching and have a day full of blast.